$200 million. Are you wondering what you could buy for that in Montana right now? In this video, we'll show you how far $200 million goes in Montana right now. There have been a couple of massive ranch sales around Montana in the last few months. Let's check them out. So I did a video a few weeks ago about ranches in Montana, and I will go to the site here in a minute. It's called Montana Land Source, and you can also go back to the video that I shot a couple weeks ago, or put out a couple of weeks ago. But it kind of covers all the ranch land in Montana, and they're specifically set up for that. And, you know, most people, when they think of Montana, they think of ranches because of the show Yellowstone and everything they've heard of about Montana. And over the last 6 months, we've had a couple of monster ranch sales in Montana that I wanted to go over today. Just the size of these ranches is enormous, and the prices for these ranches are massive as well. But as you will see, when you break it down into price per acre, it's not as bad as it seems. These are just gigantic pieces of land, and there's not a lot of states in the country that you could even find this much land available. You know, Alaska maybe, Wyoming, but other than that, you're going to have a hard time. Texas, I guess you could throw in there before I get comments. You're going to have a hard time finding pieces of land this big. Let's take a look at the ranch that sold back around September. It was called the Climbing Arrow Ranch. And as you can see, this is from that Montana Land Source. This is where I got this article. But as you can see right here, at the time, this was the highest priced ranch ever to be listed in Montana. It was listed at $136 million, and it had 79,582 acres. And 73,000 of that was deeded, which means they were leasing part of that acreage, and I'll show you that in the next sale we talk about. But again, huge ranch, and as you can see down here on the map, it was split up into 3 different big chunks. I guess there's a little one here too. And this map's a little blurry on their website, so I pulled up Google Maps to show you, but the big piece was right up here north of Bozeman, and then the other 2 were down here just north of the little town of Norris, and then there's a piece right along the Madison River here. So this is really, remarkable land right here, and very much coveted land that everybody wants along the river, and the Madison River is a great river in Montana, and it's close to Bozeman. And I guess that's why you get this price. And it was listed back in April of 2021, and it only took 140 days to sell, which when you're selling big pieces of land like this, it's going to take a lot longer to go through all the due diligence, to find the property corners, the property pins, the different leases. Getting through all of that, it's not like buying a house where you close in 30 days. So the fact that this closed in 140 days is pretty fast when it comes to what they're actually selling. So once that sold, that was kind of the big buzz around Montana, that a ranch sold for $136 million. But then the people down near the Idaho border sold a ranch, and they said, "Hold my beer, and we'll check this one out." So Rupert Murdoch, the media mogul that runs Fox News, ended up buying a ranch for approximately, it was reported in the Wall Street Journal, so there's not an exact price. They said roughly $200 million. And this ranch is unbelievable. So if you go from where we were just looking, the big ranches up here north of Bozeman, this one is actually located down here right along the Idaho border, near Yellowstone Park. So it's south of Dillon. It's down here in this area, right in here. And we'll go back to the article here. It's amazing, the size of this place. It's 340,000 acres, and it spans 50 miles from north to south. So to put that in perspective, let's take another look at a map from the Montana Land Source here that shows the outline of that ranch. And Let's compare it to some other landmarks around the United States. For example, if you've ever been to New York City, Manhattan Island is only 14,600 acres, so that's barely this little piece right up here. And all of New York City is only 193,700 acres, so that's just over half as big as this ranch. And then if you've ever been to Los Angeles, you know how spread out that is. And the acreage of Los Angeles is 322,000 acres. So even LA isn't as big as this ranch. So hopefully that gives you a little perspective on the size of this ranch that was just sold. And they say it's home to 4,000 elk, 800 antelope, and 1,500 mule deer. So it is a big piece of property. And I did a video, I think last year, on southeast Montana. If you want to check it out, I'll put the links for these videos in the notes here if you want to watch them. But you can get a better idea or see what that ranch looked like. We can also look at this article. Hall and Hall were the real estate company that sold it. So there's a couple of pictures here in their article that they have, and they're also, going off the story from the Wall Street Journal, even though they were the people that sold it here. But here's some photos. You can see just wide open spaces down here. They're the closest town, like I said, is Dillon, or if you go down to West Glacier, near Yellowstone Park. But like I said, 340,000 acres, 113,000 are deeded, and then they had grazing rights and lease land of 226,000 acres. So again, I'm not sure how that lease is set up, how long it goes, if it's 100-year, what they pay for it, but they're able to include that in the total acreage. So it also has a 28-mile-long creek that has trout in it as well, but the pictures here are just beautiful, and it gives you an idea of what it's like down there. But this looks like, when you drive south on I-15 out of Montana, you go right past, pretty close to this ranch. It's kind of one valley over from Interstate 15, and it borders Idaho, and it's fairly close to Yellowstone Park. So again, gigantic ranch, $200 million. So like I was talking earlier, for that price, if you break it down, it obviously $200 million, there's not a lot of people walking around with that kind of money in their pocket to buy a ranch in Montana. But if you break it down price per acre, it's only $588 per acre. So kind of a great deal you guys all missed out on. But I'm joking, obviously. But if any of you do have questions about ranches or are looking for ranches, feel free to give us a call, and we'd be happy to set you up. And watch the video that I did. Again, I'll put the link down in the show notes for the site that is handy to use, and it shows you all the ranch and big acreage that's available around Montana.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call, text, or email for more information. And don't forget to watch our other videos about Montana.